What happens when two of the loudest and most influential voices of our time collide in public? On one side, we have Elon Musk, the billionaire tech visionary who controls companies like Tesla, SpaceX, and most recently the social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter. Musk has positioned himself as a defender of free speech, a man who believes that the digital world should be an open arena where ideas, no matter how controversial, can be debated without fear of censorship. On the other side, we have Nigel Farage, one of Britain's most divisive political figures, famous for pushing Brexit across the finish line and reshaping the political landscape in the United Kingdom. Farage is known for his fiery speeches, his confrontational style, and his ability to connect with people who feel ignored by mainstream politics. Now, imagine these two characters, both used to commanding attention, clashing in front of millions. That is exactly what has been happening in recent weeks, and the feud between Musk and Farage is only growing more intense. What makes it even more fascinating is that both men thrive on drama. Musk loves to stir conversations online, often with a single tweet that can move markets or spark international debates. Farage, meanwhile, has built his entire career on being provocative, on saying the things that others are too afraid to say, and on turning controversy into political fuel. When you place these two men on the same stage, whether real or digital, sparks are guaranteed. The feud isn't just about personal dislike or random arguments. It is about something much bigger, the clash between politics and technology, between national populism and global free speech. Musk sees himself as a kind of digital liberator, giving people a platform to say what they want without interference. Farage, however, has always used his voice to push strong nationalist views, and his politics often challenge Musk's ideal of a borderless digital world. This conflict between their visions has created a storm that goes beyond just a few angry words on social media. It reflects deeper struggles happening around the world, about who controls the flow of information, how politics and technology interact, and where the future of public debate is heading. For Musk, every feud is an opportunity to shape his brand. He doesn't mind being at the centre of chaos, because chaos keeps him in the spotlight. For Farage, every confrontation is a chance to show his supporters that he is standing up against elites, billionaires, or anyone he can frame as an outsider trying to control ordinary people. This means the feud between the two is not going to fade quietly. Instead, it is building momentum, drawing in supporters, critics, and the media, who are eager to cover every twist. The question we need to ask is simple: why now? Why is the Musk-Farage feud intensifying at this particular moment? The answer lies in both the history of their differences and in the events that have unfolded recently. To understand how this all started, we need to go back to the origins of their clash, to the moments when their worlds first overlapped, and to the sparks that lit the fire. To understand the Musk-Farage feud, we first have to look at the paths that brought them here. Elon Musk didn't just stumble into politics. He became a political force because of his control over one of the world's most powerful platforms, Twitter, which he renamed X. Musk bought the company with the promise that it would become the ultimate platform for free speech. He argued that censorship, whether by governments or by tech companies themselves, was dangerous and harmful to democracy. In his mind, Twitter had become too restrictive, silencing voices that deserved to be heard. When Musk took over, he promised to restore balance by allowing more open conversation, even if it meant giving space to controversial figures. Nigel Farage, on the other hand, has always been controversial. His career was built on breaking political norms. As leader of UKIP, he turned Britain's frustration with the European Union into a full-blown movement that led to Brexit. Later, with the Brexit Party and Reform UK, he continued to push populist, nationalist ideas that connected with large parts of the population but alarmed many others. Farage has always seen himself as a man of the people, someone fighting against elites in Brussels, in London, or anywhere else he could point the finger. So how did these two collide? The first sparks came when Farage began using Twitter not only to spread his political message, but also to challenge Musk's vision of the platform. While Musk wanted X to be a space for global dialogue, Farage saw it as another battlefield, where he could wage his war against what he called political correctness, liberal elites, and establishment forces. Their goals overlapped in one way. They both hated censorship, but their motivations were very different. Musk wanted to appear as a neutral guardian of speech, while Farage wanted to use that openness as a weapon to strengthen his nationalist agenda. The tension grew when Musk began weighing in on European politics and global issues. Farage did not like the idea of an American billionaire interfering in British political conversations. Musk, on the other hand, was not one to hold back. Whenever Farage criticised him or mocked his policies, Musk fired back online, using the same platform he owned to put Farage in his place. This dynamic turned what could have been a minor disagreement into a recurring public fight. At its root, the clash began because both men want to control the narrative. Farage wants to shape political conversation in the UK and use platforms like X to reach his supporters. Musk wants to prove that X is the centre of free speech and that no politician, no matter how bold, can outshine his influence. Their worlds collided when both realised they were competing for the same thing: attention, influence, and the power to set the terms of the public debate. This was just the beginning, and as both men kept returning to the fight, the feud became larger than the two individuals. It became symbolic of a wider struggle between politics and technology, between populist nationalism and digital globalism. The sparks of the past were only the foundation. The real fire would come later, when events forced both men to double down and refuse to step back. Nigel Farage is not just another politician in the United Kingdom. He is one of the most disruptive figures modern British politics has ever seen. To understand why his feud with Elon Musk carries weight, we need to step back and look at the political journey that made Farage both famous and infamous. His rise began with the UK Independence Party, better known as UKIP, a party that for years struggled on the fringes of politics. Farage turned UKIP into a national force by focusing on one issue: Britain's membership in the European Union. He argued that the EU was stripping the country of its independence, taking away control of borders, laws, and trade. At a time when mainstream politicians largely dismissed these concerns, Farage built a following by saying loudly what many quietly felt. For years, Farage positioned himself as the voice of ordinary people who were angry at elites in London and Brussels. He tapped into fears about immigration, frustrations about the economy, and resentment toward a political system that felt distant and unresponsive. His speeches were direct, emotional, and often laced with controversy. Where other politicians spoke in carefully measured tones, Farage thrived on bluntness. That bluntness made him a constant feature in newspapers, television debates, and later, social media. His rise reached its peak during the Brexit referendum of 2016. Farage may not have led the official campaign, but his face and voice became symbols of the movement to take back control. When the vote to leave the EU shocked the world, Farage claimed victory, cementing his place in history as the man who pushed Britain toward the exit. But Farage was not done. After Brexit, he launched the Brexit Party and later Reform UK, keeping himself at the centre of political storms. His political style has always been confrontational. He attacks immigration policies, mocks climate change activists, and criticises what he sees as an out-of-touch political class. Supporters see him as brave, saying what others will not. Critics accuse him of stirring division and using fear for political gain. Either way, his influence is undeniable. He knows how to create headlines, how to keep himself in the spotlight, and how to use media to his advantage. Social media has been one of Farage's strongest tools. Platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube gave him direct access to millions of people without having to go through traditional media filters. Farage has always understood that political power is not just about winning seats in Parliament, it is about winning attention. By staying relevant online, he has remained an influential voice long after most politicians from his era faded away. Even when he steps back from frontline politics, he returns with new shows, interviews, and commentary, making sure his name never disappears from public conversation. This is where the clash with Elon Musk becomes clearer. Farage's political strength depends on his ability to use platforms like X to amplify his views. He knows that every controversial statement will attract both supporters and critics, and that the storm of reactions keeps him visible. But Musk, as the owner of X, is no ordinary tech executive. He is a political actor in his own right, with global reach and the power to shape how debates unfold. For Farage, this means he is no longer just fighting political opponents in Britain. He is also clashing with a billionaire who controls one of the most important channels for his message. Farage's career shows why he cannot step away from a fight. His entire image is built on conflict. Against the EU, against immigration, against elites, and now against Elon Musk. He thrives when he has an enemy to point at, because it allows him to rally his base and remind them that he is still the outsider fighting the establishment. Musk, of course, is an easy target for that narrative. To Farage, Musk is not just a businessman, but also a symbol of foreign power interfering in British debate. That makes him perfect for Farage's style of politics, which depends on finding someone to oppose. The feud with Musk, therefore, is not an accident. It is the natural extension of Farage's career. Just as he once turned the EU into his enemy, he now positions Musk as another powerful figure who needs to be challenged. The difference is that this time, the fight is not about laws or referendums. It is about influence in the digital space. Farage wants to keep control of his narrative, but Musk owns the platform where that narrative spreads. This tension is what makes their feud not only personal, but also political. It is a fight about the future of how politics is done in the modern world, and Farage knows that he cannot afford to lose ground in that battle. Elon Musk is not a traditional political leader, yet his influence often feels greater than many presidents and prime ministers. He is one of the richest people in the world, but more importantly, he is one of the most powerful voices in shaping global conversations. His companies, Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and others, have made him a symbol of innovation, disruption, and bold vision. But Musk's most unpredictable and political move came when he took control of Twitter, rebranded it as X, and declared that it would become a global digital town square. This was not just about running a business, it was about controlling the central platform where political and cultural debates happen every single day. Musk framed his purchase of Twitter as an act of saving free speech. He argued that the platform had been captured by political bias, that it was silencing voices, and that it was enforcing rules that unfairly restricted open dialogue. By taking control, he promised to restore balance, giving space for all views, even controversial ones, to exist without fear of censorship. This message was not just popular with his fans, it resonated with people around the world who were frustrated by what they saw as increasing control over online speech. Musk positioned himself not as a businessman in this moment, but as a defender of freedom in the digital age. But Musk's version of free speech is not without problems. Critics argue that his hands-off approach allows harmful content, disinformation, and hate speech to spread more easily. Supporters counter that the risks of messy debate are better than the risks of heavy censorship. What matters most is that Musk has placed himself at the center of this debate. Every decision he makes about content moderation, banned accounts, or political advertising carries global consequences. Unlike Farage, who operates mainly within British politics, Musk operates on a planetary scale. His platform is not just a tool for national leaders. It is where presidents, CEOs, activists, and everyday citizens all meet to fight their battles. This global influence is what makes Musk so different and so threatening to politicians like Farage. Musk is not bound by borders, and his idea of free speech is not tied to one country's interests. He views X as a universal arena, a space where voices from every corner of the globe can argue without limits. For a nationalist like Farage, who believes in drawing firm boundaries around British identity and sovereignty, this creates friction. Farage thrives on politics that emphasize us versus them. But Musk's platform is built to erase those lines, at least in theory. The conflict here is not just personal, it reflects two different worldviews colliding in front of millions. At the same time, Musk uses his global platform to influence political conversations far beyond the United States. He comments on European policies, criticizes government regulations, and even inserts himself into heated cultural debates. When Musk speaks, news outlets all over the world report on it, giving his opinions weight that few private citizens have ever carried. This is why Farage and others react strongly when Musk challenges them. They are not just fighting another individual, they are fighting someone who can instantly shape how the world sees them. Musk's free speech agenda also connects with his personal style. He thrives on controversy, just like Farage, but in a different way. For Musk, being bold, mocking, or provocative on X is part of maintaining his image as a fearless innovator who refuses to be controlled. Every feud he enters feeds into this identity. His supporters see him as a rebel billionaire, someone willing to take risks and fight elites, even when it costs him. His critics, on the other hand, see him as reckless and irresponsible. Either way, Musk wins because the attention keeps him at the center of conversation. This is why the feud with Farage is so important to Musk. On one level, it is about defending his platform and his reputation as the guardian of free speech. On another level, it is about proving that no politician, no matter how loud, can dominate the digital arena he now controls. Musk does not like to lose battles, and he rarely walks away quietly. By engaging with Farage directly on X, Musk reinforces his image as someone unafraid of confrontation, while also reminding the world that he, not any politician, sets the rules in this new public square. In the end, Musk's global influence and his free speech agenda are not just business strategies. They are part of a larger project. reshaping how the world communicates, debates, and decides what truth means in the digital age. For Farage, this is both a threat and an opportunity. It is a threat because Musk's voice can overpower his own, but it is also an opportunity because feuding with Musk keeps Farage in the spotlight. Their clash is, therefore, not just about words online. It is about who will have the final say in shaping the narratives that move nations.